Today we're working on my little trailer. As good as it gets. Hey everybody, I'm Kenny. This is Sagebrush Soul, and today we're gonna start tearing down my little trailer. I've had this thing for pretty close to 7 years now, I think, and it is been used more than anything else I've got. I got it on trade for a yard cleanup project that I did that was probably the most beneficial blood, sweat, and tears I've ever made in my life. I got this trailer, got a couple of other trailers, a ton of things that I sold or traded off, but this little guy, I had no idea what a difference it was going to make in my life. Once upon a time, I had another YouTube channel. I only had a couple of videos on there, didn't know how to work the system. Not that I do now, but I was going to build it into a camper, and I was going to call it the Cramper Project. I was going to design it so it was versatile, so I could use it as a trailer, but also to be able to pull it with my little S10 Blazer. I was going to use a little fishing camper that I acquired. Needless to say, it didn't wind up working, and when I moved, I had to short sell everything, so some of it I even wound up giving away, but all in all, I wasn't really anything into the project. Now, I have made a few mods on this trailer since I got it originally. It had a weird rack on it that I cut off. For the last few years, I've had some sides on it that were convenient, but I don't like them. They're made out of 2x4s. They're really heavy, and they're falling apart now. So I want to make something a little more metal. That's not going to happen in this project. We're going back to basics. It needs a paint job before we get too carried away. I'm going to add a couple of lights and put a new deck on it, because I'll tell you what, that wood is pretty bad on there right now. Skylar got a pay-per-view for the National Farm Machinery Show tonight, truck and tractor pull, so I've only got a couple hours to hurry and start tearing this thing apart. Hopefully I can get it down far enough that tomorrow I can prep it, but I'm also going to be painting the undercarriage of a bus, the trailer, and if all goes well, the bumper off the golf cart. So I better get to it. Some of the bolts that I used to put the E-track on are in the middle, and I don't really feel like climbing on the floor, so I got an idea. Good morning. Balmy 9 degrees. We're gonna go continue working on the trailer. I got the wood loose last night, but got a little ways to go to get it prepped, and then we'll start painting. I took it over and kind of rinsed it off with a low pressure hose in here. It's so cold outside, there's no way I'm lighting up the power washer, getting myself wet. I got to go back and forth a little bit, but I took one of these little scuffing wheels and went in these corners and stuff like that to get a good bind on there. I was going to take these tail lights off completely so I could just paint without them on, but they're old, they're cheap, they still work. I'm going to leave them on for now. Just mask the lenses and go ahead and freshen up the body of them a little bit. But I gotta make some holes for the other lights that I'm gonna add onto it, and I want to do this. I got a piece of tubing or conduit that goes all the way through so you don't lose any strength in the frame. We don't have anything like that that's scrap here in the shop, and the hardware store here in Shelley is not open today, and if I go to town, there's no way I'm gonna get done everything I need to get done. Like I said, I gotta paint on a bus as well. I need to get this prepped, painted, and ready, because we're headed to Oklahoma Wednesday, so it's all got to get done today. And in fact, these jack stands, I think Teresa's probably going to need them tomorrow, so I got to have it down before she gets here tomorrow. So I'm just going to run to the parts store. I'm going to get some extra wire that I need. I'm going to see what I can find for a rust converter on some of these spots, and also I'm going to go get a wax and grease remover. We got some here at the shop, but it belongs to the shop, so this is going to take quite a bit. Again, I need to use all that stuff on the bus, so yeah, I'm gonna put you guys on the charger run to the parts store. I'll pick up where I left off. I struck out at the parts store. They didn't have any tubing or anything like that, and I did wind up getting a new jack. I'll explain that a little bit later. But I came back and I didn't know Teresa was going to be here, and she had a couple of pieces of pipe stashed away. This is the third set of these lights that I've bought. I actually bought the first set for this, wound up using those on the motorcycle carrier, and the last set I wound up using on my golf cart. They're very bright, very nice. So I took this measurement so I can transfer it to the other side and keep them pretty cohesive. But I'm going to start off with, I think that's a 3/8 bit. I'll drill through, then I'll use a step bit to work it out bigger. Whew, $14 drill. Smoking. Whew. Gotta get through the other side. We got it where it'll go through both things, and the purpose of this is just keeping it a little more structural, or removing this material. Stack some tacks around that hole, then grind it flat, and then do it 1, 2, 3, 7 more times. Cut that guy off pretty flush, clean it all up, and then do the same thing on the inside. I've got all of these welded in. She had just enough. She had some smaller pieces that I welded in for the little marker lights, and then I used the bigger pieces on the back, but she had just enough that I'm gonna go ahead and add, they'll be red, but I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more. So I got her stop tails and turns, and then I'll add some more. The more the better, I figure. And then I decided that I also want to add some right there on the front of the fender, because on these little trailers it's really hard to know where your tires are when you're backing up in the dark. And so yeah, I'm doing it one-handed because I'm holding you in the other one. Doobie doobie doo. So I'm gonna put one right there, and that'll be super nice when I'm using my mirrors to back up. I can see right where that tire is, the outside edge of the fender, so I don't hit anything with it. So yeah, a little change of events. I didn't know Teresa was coming in. It's Sunday. Usually I'm the only one here on Sunday, and she's printing our merch and our gear to go on the road. So that prevented me from being able to paint, which is, it's okay. It's a busy time. We tend to run into each other. So I do want to spray tonight a little bit. I'm gonna at least mix 1 cup, hopefully get a coat on the trailer, then spray what's left on the bus. I want to do the golf cart bumper, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. I also decided we're gonna do a full rewire on this thing. You can see all my crazy zip tie. Well, that's part of one of the Live a Little signs from the Buzz Factory. Those are letters. That one right there, a couple of V's over there. But anything, I just needed to hook zip ties to stuff because my conduit idea was not going well. I got a couple on, and I was like, man, this is just taking way too much time. So this will be great, and I'll be able to rewire the whole thing. It'll be tidy, it'll be neat, and nobody will ever see it except you guys. That oh, there's an A, or is it a V? I think it's a V. We're gonna do some more sanding, wipe it all down, shoot it. Thing's a friggin' death trap. Don't buy those from Harbor Freight. gonna go ahead and go around and sand it, wipe it down. Then we're gonna shoot it, use what's left on the bus. Golf cart's just gonna have to wait because I gotta get up at Odark 30 and start spraying before Teresa gets back and gets printing. Alright, sorry about the compressor kicking on. One thing I thought of that might be helpful if somebody actually does want to do this is the order that I painted everything. I went first going underneath. I painted all the bottom stuff. Then I moved into these nooks and crannies and all these tight spots that I still need to come in and hit that again. But all of that stuff, I like to fog them in a little bit, a little less flow, a little more pressure. Obviously we did up underneath, but just all the tight spots that you can find, I hit them, then I step back and I go for it, start giving it a nice wet coat. Now, this paint it only comes in gloss. You can see it's a pretty high gloss as well, and it'll dry just like that. There are such things as flattening agents that you can use. I haven't ever played around with them all that much. What we're gonna do, because where I didn't like sand it all down and there's some chips and things like that, the sun's really gonna pick up on those, especially with black paint, and I'll be about finally, it'll be a little less paint and I'll be about 18 inches away, and we're just gonna kind of let that stuff drop on there a little bit. You can actually turn your pressure down and it should give it a little bit of a satiny look, not necessarily flat, but satiny. So there is some range you can play with. We're gonna do it on this. I did it on the Oklahoma bus and it worked out pretty good. But just again, because it's not perfect, that high gloss is gonna really make the imperfections stick out. So we're gonna go for the satin look. If you do that, I recommend doing it in a paint booth or outside. I got overspray everywhere. I've never done that indoors before, but it's gonna be kind of tough to see. But as that moves, it's almost a fake powder coat, but some of the, like I say, little dings and dents that aren't perfect in there. There's the light. Kinda, can't keep it in the, there we go. But anyway, just gives it a little bit of texture, kind of hides those imperfections. It takes a little bit of practice to do, but, and the cool part is if I didn't like it, I can either shoot over the top of it, but even like next year, if I decide, you know what, I want it shiny, this stuff will take a buffing really good. And I can actually buff those little spots out, even out the paint, and it'll be shiny again. All right, we got paint, it's dry, lights are on. I'm gonna wire things really quick because I want this to be able to go back down on the ground, and if they need to, for them to be able to move it while we're doing the monster truck insanity tour in Oklahoma. So let's wire. Every single time I turn on this camera, that furnace kicks on. Okay, it's all wired up. I'm hoping everything holds up. I didn't film a bunch of it. I don't have time to make a tutorial, but you can see there's quite a bit of wire involved. I think I got it all tied up where snow and things of that nature won't hook onto it. It was unconventional, and yes, I could have set it up a lot of different ways to make it. I rushed it, and it took me, I think we're going on 5 hours. Oh yeah. That is nice. Not that I think you doubt me, but how about that? Yeah. Overkill, I know, but when you're pulling this thing, I like to be able to see it, like other people to see where I'm at, what my intentions are. and I didn't plan on doing this or that taking anywhere near that long, so it's gonna be a light one, and tomorrow we get on an airplane. So you'll probably see that vlog before you see me finish this, so I'll see you when I get back from Oklahoma. Well, for all intent and purposes, and for now, the trailer is done. The only other thing that I might consider doing in the future, obviously trying to cut the wood a little bit better, even with being in a rush and not taking as much time as I wanted to on it. It took a couple hours longer than I anticipated. I think it's because I'm getting old that all these projects wind up taking so much longer than I think they're getting. I'm Kenny, this is Sagebrush Soul. May the best of your past be the worst of your future.